And I asked the question, what implications did this have for females? And Dr. Tu correctly answered that it was a metaphor. Circumcision, as Paul uses this in his Galatian correspondence, is a metaphor for everything Jewish. All the dietary laws, all the worship laws, all the customs. It's kind of a general heading, if you will. It's much more than the actual surgical act of a little Jewish baby boy done on the 8th day, etc., etc. But it does have some radical implications for the church. Because if Christ alone is the only way that grace can be conveyed to all humanity, one of the things that's got to go out the window, according to the Apostle Paul, is this male-dominant thinking that women can only approach God through their men. And this is why we're going to see Paul say, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, in Jesus Christ there is no male nor female. Now we're in a community of grace where all the old rules, we're in a new age now, and all the old rules are passed away. There's no such thing as the haves and the have-nots. In Jesus Christ, there is no male nor female. This is a new community that is governed by new relationships. In Jesus Christ, there is no Jew nor Gentile, Jew nor Greek. Now, folks, this is outrageous to the Jewish mentality. Doesn't make sense. It is a core violation of everything that they believed and everything that they stood for. And this whole concept of equal access, I mean, in Jewish worship, the Gentiles had to be outside. They couldn't come in here with us. They had to be in the courtyard. They were second-class citizens. Now, we're going to miss what Paul meant for us tonight. If we point our fingers 2,000 years back to people who insisted on something that might seem to be arcane to us today or irrelevant, well, dietary laws, Charlie, we don't follow any dietary laws. I want us to think as we read these verses about things that we insist on today, 2009. Adding to, tacking on, insisting on, requiring things other than the sheer grace of God in Jesus Christ. Now, I don't know what that is for you. I've got my own list. But we're going to miss the point of this lesson if we think, you know, okay, we're more enlightened, we're more sophisticated. We've moved beyond all that old ritualism and all that old legalism, and now we're completely free. Now we trust only the grace of Christ. Do we? Do we? And let me be a little bit more directive. I want us to think about all the things that have so animated the Baptist community over the past couple of decades. Requirements, rules, prerequisites. And I want us to think about, do we really, viscerally, existentially believe that the only thing that matters is the unconditional grace of Jesus Christ? It is never cheap grace, it's always costly, as Dietrich Bonhoeffer reminded us. It cost 2 lives. It cost Jesus his life, and it cost us our life. Now, in order to establish this, Paul, this is going to change everything. This is going to change everything. So Paul, in chapter 1, has to establish his credentials. What right does he have? I mean, this is huge. He's taking a several thousand year tradition and he's turning it on its ear now. And he does it in a very brilliant, very careful, and very nuanced way. But the first thing he's going to have to do is to establish his own authority, his own credentials, and he does it in 2 or 3 ways. Let's pick it up in verse 11 of chapter 1. For I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that the gospel that was proclaimed by me is not of human origin. For I did not receive it from a human source, nor was I taught it, but I received it through a revelation of Jesus Christ. This is coming to me from the outside. This is not a program that I've just designed or devised. It's not a product of my imagination. It has been given to me. It has been bequeathed to me, revealed to me. The light has come on. This is coming from Jesus Christ. This is a new law and a new rule and a new order. It is not something that I've manufactured. It's not something that has come from inside me. It has come from outside of me. It is the sovereign revelation of God in Christ. Now, Paul has to establish this because if it is of human origin, then it can be debated, it can be parsed out. Then you're going to have an argument till the world looks level if it's of human origin. But if it's of divine origin, he will not burn out in the appropriation and the brokerage of this new vision. If it's of God, if it's truly of God, then it's going to win the day. And it's going to be an initiative that will take root. And Paul has to establish his credential. And the first thing he says, that it's of divine origin, not of human origin. Then secondly, he appeals to his own experience, his own conversion. He gives his testimony. And this is what he says in verse 13 and following. You have heard, no doubt, of my earlier life in Judaism. I was violently persecuting the church of God. I was trying to destroy it. I advanced in Judaism beyond many among my people of the same age. For I was far more zealous for the traditions of my ancestors. But when God, who had set me apart before I was born and called me through His grace, was pleased, here's the word again, to reveal His Son to me so that I might proclaim Him among the Gentiles, I did not confer with any human being. Nor did I go up to Jerusalem to those who were already apostles before me, but I went away at once into Arabia, and afterwards I returned to Damascus. Verse 18, then after 3 years, I did go up to Jerusalem to visit Cephas, Peter, and stayed with him 15 days, but I did not see any other apostle except James, the Lord's brother. In what I am writing to you before God, I do not lie. He's trying to establish this revelation from God and how this understanding saved him from his own legalism. Now, hold your place there and turn back to Philippians. I want everybody to turn over to Philippians. We looked at this several weeks ago. Look at verses, we're going to say verse 4 through 6 of chapter 3 of Philippians. Hold your finger in chapter 1 of Galatians, and we're now in Philippians chapter 3, verse 4 and following. We're going to start in verse 3. For it is we who are the circumcision, who worship in the Spirit of God and boast in Christ Jesus and have no confidence in the flesh, even though I too have reason for confidence in the flesh. If anyone else has reason to be confident in the flesh, I have more. Circumcised on the 8th day, member of the people of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew born of Hebrews, as to the law a Pharisee, as to zeal a persecutor of the church, as to righteousness under the law, blameless. And these are all things that Paul has to put behind him. These are the things that he puts behind him. And he's pressing forward to the things that lie ahead. And what lies ahead is this new understanding that it is grace alone that saves us. It is no performance. It's not one single jot or tittle of goodness that we can add to it.